Hey there, Wisdom Keepers. Dana Spirit Butterfly here. This video is a channeled forecast to cover the lunar cycle, starting with the new moon on the 10th or 11th of May, depending on which hemisphere, which geographical location you're in, and ending on around the 10th or 11th of June. Of course, a natural part of an energy forecast is, and also because it's standard reading technique, is to look at where we've come from and where we're going, where we're headed. This is not so much to predict the future, but to offer you some resources or tools to understand how to navigate the energetic dynamics that are currently impacting us as a collective consciousness on the planet. Those of you who have come across my work may hear me talk about something called the schools of fish, or schools of fish that we all belong to. And for me, the schools of fish are just an idea or a sense that as we travel through life, we of course go through our own unique journey, but that unique journey often plays a role in a collective consciousness or evolutionary consciousness that we are involved in and connected to. When we use the term tribe, and we're going to talk about a little bit more about tribe, because this month will offer us a really good opportunity to reflect on this concept of tribe. But we all have a need to belong to something greater than ourselves, and it's a need. It's something that we all have. Any person who ever says that they don't need anybody ever is lying. It's not true. We actually are here to be in physical form, to understand the nature of separation, and a part of that is understanding the spaces in which we belong, and navigating that is actually a really important part of your own soul's evolution and soul's journey of becoming. We like to use the analogy that we're all just butterflies who don't quite know what our butterfly looks like yet. And in your own DNA strands, in your soul's code, is the blueprint of that butterfly. And when you get out of your way, when you're able to strip yourself bare of the programs that tell you lies about yourself, or tell you things about yourself that just don't resonate and aren't true for you, then you are better able to perceive your own butterfly and to be that. And who doesn't like a butterfly? Actually, it's funny I say that. Spirit's just reminding me that I do actually have a friend who doesn't like, or for ages didn't like, butterflies. He said that they were a little bit too erratic, and they just seemed to have no purpose or sense in their direction. And of course, as he shared this with me at the time, I kind of had a bit of a giggle, because the movement patternings of a butterfly is spirit. It's actually the gift of the innate feminine. It's, the apparent chaos that actually isn't chaos. And any person who feels a little bit uncomfortable about the passage or the flight path of a butterfly usually talks a lot about their feelings of lack of safety, that they feel they need to control everything. So anyway, that's an aside. You'll see that I'm outside today. I'm taking advantage of one of Melbourne's last beautiful days before winter. Of course, I said that a couple of weeks ago, and look at this beautiful day. So anyway, we're outside today for many reasons, partially because being in nature does change our energy. And as much as you might think that you are an isolated individual who is able to control your internal world, and through controlling your internal world, that's all you need for health and wellness, then it's actually only a part of the picture. It's your responsibility to find spaces in the external world where the environmental factors resonate with you and allow you to breathe. And so, being here present in this particular courtyard at the moment, it's reminding me about where we've just come from in terms of the relational space, because a lot of us, when we look at relationships, we see them as something that's outside of us. We see them as, you're out there and I'm over here, and this is what we do. And Spirit is just reminding me that as we're heading into the Taurian new moon, of course the sun is already in Taurus, and Taurus is really the ruler of the home environment. And when we use the term home environment, we're not just talking about your physical house or apartment that you live in. We're also talking about you. We're talking about you, the vehicle. You are home inside of you. And so we've had the last few moon cycles has had an emphasis specifically on relational matters. It's been very much about this is where I'm at and this is where you're at, and how do we navigate this space in between us. Last month we had a really powerful Scorpio full moon. It's actually really strong. So if any of you had a little bit of difficulty around the 26th, 27th of April, before or after, then a lot of this actually makes sense, because the Scorpion energy is a very direct and very open sign. Open, it's not open, it's a very emotional sign. It tends to be quite hidden in its expression, and it sometimes is perceived as being a manipulative type of energy. So it's the type where I might externally present something, but internally I've got all of this mechanism going on that I'm not actually sharing with people. And for many of you, this would be what you're doing with your emotional self. You may find that as you're navigating your way through life, you're actually either ignoring your emotional feelings as they're coming up, or you're hiding them. And this is not necessarily helpful for your relationships. And in many ways, we do this because we've been conditioned, or we've noticed other people don't seem to be comfortable with emotional language. And, this is endemic on the planet. When we talk about the overt masculine containers that currently exist on the planet, I mean, they aren't as overtly masculine as they used to be, but still, there is a lot of resistance, particularly in the older generations, of being able to clearly and effectively, efficiently, in any way, be comfortable with articulating emotions and how we're feeling about things, and to not see that as being an indicator of failing. And so we've just come from a period where we said that, we were saying a lot in last energy forecast that it was about understanding what you can live without and what it is that you absolutely need in your life. So what was fixed versus what is mutable, what is able to be changed. Because very much the last month was about stripping things bare. It's funny, Spirit gave me the words, the Bride Stripped Bare, which was a book that I read over a decade ago. I can't remember who the author is, but they were making that in reference to this idea that a lot of us have been following on from the Piscean and Aquarian energy of the previous months and moon cycles. We have been very much looking at our relationship containers and what's in it and what's not in it, and the flow on from that has been this readjustment, or this need to readjust what it is that you need in relationships and what it is that you're not getting in your relationships, and maybe calling that out. And so there was and has been a lot of relationship doings, comings and goings over the last few months. But as we're heading a little bit more further into this new month, there's going to be a lot more of a redirect outside of the relational space and into the self-sovereign space, which is about you in an internal sense and how you navigate your internal relationship with you. So moving on into the next month, as I mentioned, we have a new moon in Taurus, but it's also while the sun is in Taurus. And so this is relevant because when the lunar frequency and the solar frequency seems to be in alignment, there is an intolerance to our energetics, where my internal world is saying one thing and my external presentation, so the facade that I present out to the external world, is actually out of alignment or is showing something different. Now, you can argue that the external world is always reflecting you, but this is maybe an oversimplification of what actually happens. So what we're looking for here really is an internal process across the new moon cycle that will allow you to better navigate how at home you feel inside your own body, inside your own experience, in the experience of being in the world. There's a saying that Spirit just gave me, that it's being in the world rather than of the world. And it's really profoundly true at the moment, because a lot of us have been for some time, partially because of obviously the global crisis that everybody seems to be in. So I'm just going to move this because the sun's moving. The global crisis that we've all been in has asked us to ask questions a lot about, you know, where do I fit? Where do I belong? Is what I'm doing serving me? Is the job that I'm in actually going to be available to me in the long-term sense? Is this the lifestyle that I want? A lot of these questions have been risen in the field, and it will continue specifically across May, partially because May is nearly always following on from the April rebirth that nearly always we have. There's a little bit of instability that's still in the field, and that perpetuates across May. And so May is also number 5 month. I call it the butterfly month, because 5 is the number of transformation or evolution. Remember, I talked before about you being the butterfly. I can guarantee you that May will offer you a lot of opportunities to reaffirm you're a butterfly and what it is that you want to see about yourself in the world. A part and parcel of this is, of course, unfortunately, the arising of conflicts in your actual experience that ask you to ask better questions or different questions to the ones that you've been asking around your sense of well-being and what types of things you want in your life. And so the emphasis here is that leading up into the full moon, which is the Sagittarius full moon, and it's also an eclipsed full moon, which just amplifies the field even further. There's going to be an emphasis on where do I want to invest my energy and what do I want to work on in order to be able to have this bread and butter type of support across this transformational period. Spirit is reminding me that the global crisis, insert whatever word you want to put in for what the planetary situation is at the moment, it's going to be around for another couple of years. There's going to still be this uncertainty. It will be ongoing for some time. It's interesting, of course, that, you know, people conveniently forget about it, and that in itself is not necessarily a bad thing. We are certainly much more than just a global crisis. There's so much more in the space in between the, you know, media expressions and what our parliamentarians and governments are expressing in order to be able to shape the field of our future. You actually do have a lot of a say in what it is that you do with your time and your energy. And by the full moon, which happens around the 25th, 26th of May, there'll be a transition opportunity for you to step into something that might be more worth your while or more in alignment while still being able to provide for you. Spirit is saying that for many of you, you're still in a transformational period, which means that which you are becoming, that which your butterfly is destined to be, is not currently available for you in the field, which basically means that in the external situation that connects us all, in the map that we're all intrinsically connected to, the space that says self-actualized you is not fully formed yet. It's still up for negotiation. For those of you who are across the grids of the karmic interactivity that we have, what that basically means is that we had a whole lot of karmic contracts that most of us incarnated in with, and those contracts are either being rewritten or thrown out because of the planetary upgrade. So moving forwards, you have a lot more say in what it is that you get to do for your future. Your future is not fixed. And we will, in fact, I want to shake some of you, because I know some of you listen to this video and you're still asking yourself the question, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? What is my purpose here? And it's like, you know, purpose in itself is not a fixed idea. You know, you showing up as you in a fashion is a form of purpose. You don't need to have a label accountant or a label, you know, graphic designer. You don't have to have that label in order to be able to feel safe in what it is that you do. Labeling things can help you, but my argument is that as soon as, like, if you a label, sometimes it becomes a fixed position and it actually discourages you from evolution, and sometimes it can limit your field and your potentiality. And I can assure you, you're a hell of a lot more than just one label. This will always be true. So your soul purpose really is to find out what resonates with you and to understand the currency of universal flow. The universal flow is a sacred feminine aspect. It is a technology that we all have access to, whether you're a man or a woman or a boy or a girl or a grandfather or grandmother, it doesn't matter who you identify with. We all have a sacred feminine aspect that connects us to the grander scheme of things, that understands that the external facade and the constructs that are available to us themselves are actually just guidance structures that can be changed. You can operate outside of those, and many of us already do anyway. It's just that we see these containers as anchor points to help you at any time, space, moment, to be able to feel a sense of assurance that you're okay. And there are many ways of doing this, and this is one way that we're highly conditioned to look out and go, oh, I see that label, and at the moment that resonates with me, and oh, I'm fixed forever. And it's like, yes, you are fixed. You're fixed in one box. You can't move from that box now. So stop it. Let me shake you. And this is in a fashion what sometimes these types of global crises offer us an opportunity to remember that as you travel through your life, you are like this repository of wisdom. You have so much knowledge, you have power, you have energy. You actually can do a lot more with your life than what you're currently doing. But a better question is, why are you so dissatisfied with your life? Why are you so dissatisfied with your relationships? Because it's that conversation you need to be having. And I know that many of you aren't having those conversations. You're having the other conversations, and those other conversations aren't helping you with your problems. So, when I say those things, there's a part of me that's like, oh, I feel so inspirational, but some of you might perceive that as criticism. So I'm sorry if that's you, if you feel like I've just criticized you. How we perceive things is our responsibility, so if you feel that way, I'm sorry. If you're going to take it that way, then trust that there's some intelligence inside of you telling you that there's something going on with you around that as an issue. But we've put it out there for you so that hopefully you'll be able to drop into yourself and acknowledge yourself in space and time and know that I'm here to inspire you, and it's up to you how you move forwards with that. So Sagittarius, full moon, eclipsed full moon, new moon heading into Gemini, sun's heading into Gemini. We also have something called a Mercury Retrograde. So I'm just going to go back to Gemini. So we're heading into a Gemini solar frequency with a matched lunar frequency on the 10th and 11th of June. The Gemini energy, look, they're fun to have at a party. They usually, they're very changeable, which can be great because you don't always want people to tell you the same story over and over and over, right? That gets a bit boring. But the challenge with Gemini, the Gemini energy, is that it can be very unstable. And so the Taurus energy is really about grounding and focusing your energy so that you can get real with what it is that's available to you now, rather than getting lost in a trance of the future. And it will, if you get disciplined about it and focus on your very fundamental things. What do I need? Like, write a list. What do I need to feel safe in my body? What do I need in my relationships in order for me to feel well? And how am I taking care of myself? Self-care is a really big deal. If you're not spending a good part of your day on self-care type activities, then you're gonna feel like you're failing at life, and that's just a simple truth. But moving forwards into the Gemini energy, there's a lot more social activity heading into the Gemini energy in the later stages of June, and this time period this year is accompanied with a Mercury retrograde. Now, Mercury retrogrades get a bad rap. I actually believe that there's no aspects of our experience that is particularly bad, all of it can act as inspiration for a future unraveling that is supporting and nurturing and caring for you and providing you with a greater sense of self. So moving forwards into June, there is a lot more on offer for you to be able to reinforce where your safety zones lie so that you can feel balanced and ready for what is coming. The instability in June is going to be seen in our governmental structures. So I feel like Spirit is pointing towards the public economy that, and also of course this would make sense at least here in Australia, because obviously 1 July is where the beginning of the new financial year is. But Spirit is saying financially there's a lot of rush going on also because the public economy, which basically is just, trade and, going to the shops and having available, stuff to pay for and having the money to pay for that. So public economy is a really messy thing at the moment. There's a lot of companies changing hands. There's a lot of companies going bust, and there's a lot of people who are fearful of their own personal financial safety. And with the Mercury retrograde, that it kind of starts around the new moon. The energy around the 14th, I've got it written down, around the 14th of May is when the Mercury retrograde pre-shadow starts to kick in, but later towards the 29th of May is when it reaches the retrograde officially. And retrograde kind of lasts for about 3 weeks, give or take, so it's going to take us all the way up until June, and the shadow period doesn't actually end until July. So during Mercury retrogrades, there tends to be a lot of messiness in the field of communication, and so often that would be, computers, phones not quite working, the telecommunication lines not particularly being clear. But further to that, Spirit is just saying that we're a little bit more concerned about how you're communicating with your loved ones and how supported you feel in your personal relationships, because during that period of time there's going to be a muddiness of your ability to communicate with them and for them to be able to openly receive what it is that you have to say with love in their heart. And it's just testament to the Gemini instability, the indecisiveness. Indecisiveness is an energetic that tends to come around with the Gemini energy. And in the lead up to the end of financial year, there's going to be this rush of people trying to figure out, how to spend money appropriately in order to do the right thing by their own financial wellness. And so we're going to talk a lot more about that instability in the next moon cycle. Spirit is just reminding me, we just want to, of course, flag with you that, when we do these types of readings, we're looking at personal autonomy in reference to a number of different kind of fields of your own experience. So that would be health, relationships, love, work, home life, economy. These are like bubbles essentially of personal care that we all need to take care of. And so the emphasis moving into the next month is mostly the home environment, personal economy, and that ability to communicate within yourself in order for you to be able to express what it is that's inside, so that what you're expressing in the outside is in alignment, so that there's actually true synchronicity with you on all levels of your emotional, physical, mental, spiritual realms. If any of that overwhelms you, or if any of you are curious about that, you know that I run a coaching program to assist people to understand about energy and how to regulate their own. We work with meditation and journey work if it's appropriate for you. We teach you a lot more about the shadow and light in the space of humanity's evolution, and we can work a lot with your relationships so that you can find a little bit more balance in your life. Instability is something that it's threatening all of us. It's going to threaten all of us for quite some time, and it doesn't have to feel so threatening. But when you are devoid of the technology that tells you that when these types of things come into your space, then these are the things that you can do. This is where your power lies, so that as you step forwards through your life, you feel like you're in some level of personal control of at least your own decisions and how you express yourself. It significantly improves your relationships. And as we are here isolated in physical form with our own physical bodies, our own minds and our own spirits, we do have a tendency to forget that relationships take work. And indeed, Spirit is just reminding me that it doesn't have to be work in the traditional sense of hard work. It can actually be quite joyful, but you need to learn. And most of us did not have the benefit of parents who understood how to communicate with each other or the external world or their own extended family enough to be able to show us with working examples as to how to do this in healthy and productive ways. And so I will recommend a course that I want you to look into around authentic relating. I'm going to put a link in my video, and please get onto it. I want all of my friends and family to do these types of things because I'm concerned that many of them are missing out on vital opportunities to feel safe and well in their relationships and in their own physical bodies, and in that they are unable to stabilize their own energy. And I can assist you with that, of course, but some of you might like my friend's course as well because it's really good. So as for spaces that I'm offering in this month, I have a collective past life regression, which basically is a group session. We run it for a 3-hour period, and it is available in the States, in Canada, and here in Australia and New Zealand. It's an online call, and it's really perfect for reconnecting with you and starting that dialogue with your soul. And so we will be holding that. We always hold it at the end of the month on a Friday night and Saturday afternoon, morning, Saturday afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. But that'll be on the 28th and 29th of May. So if you want to look a little bit more into that, you can check out my Facebook page. Unfortunately, my website's doing something weird. But that said, you can also jump onto my website and make bookings. So you can book in for that course. You just need to jump onto my website and there's a book now button, and that works fine. So just jump onto that. At the moment, all of my services are available online. My booking calendar is online with the book now button. So just jump on and check that out. And if you want to check out my availability, you just need to do that. And it's not until you actually push through with the appointment that you need to pay and that it's solidified. So there's no harm in you just checking it out and seeing what my availability is. I'm also offering some in-person sessions here in Mornington on Fridays and Saturdays. So if you like an in-person session, as I say to people, I don't say no, but if we can negotiate it, I will. Just email me and we'll see if we can sort out a time. Okay, so that would be in Mornington here in Victoria, Australia. The last thing I just want to talk about is the Sacred Sister Soul Circles. So those of you who know, I have in the past quite successfully run a number of sister circles, and it's actually work that's really close to my heart. But it's work that is, it requires a certain amount of dedication to yourself and a desire for you to evolve. And in my experience, you have to be ready for that type of work. I am currently looking at another circle, running another circle. It'll be an online circle. It'll be in June probably. If you might be interested in that, if that's interesting to you, I run a Sacred Sister Soul Circles private Facebook group, and I would invite you to join us for that group. And so I'll put a link again in the YouTube channel so that you can look that up if that's something that might inspire you to get more connected in with that self-care, and also getting into the headspace of you and how you show up in the world as a sacred feminine space holder, wisdom keeper, a technology welder. And so with that, I feel like we're done here. Thank you for tuning in and having a listen. I hope that you're doing well. You know, it's not all doom and gloom. There's also a lot of light and shade. And you know, I was talking to a client earlier today about how the rainbow frequency coincides along with the black and white reality. And so we do actually have these concurrent lines of technology or energy or radio wave frequencies that are running through the planet at the moment. And so you can tune into one or the other or both at any time. It's just that if you're not meditating, you don't have that connection with self on a spiritual level, you're not going to notice. You're just going to get stuck in a one singular reality. And I don't want that for anybody. That reality sucks because it basically leaves you with a hell of a lot of blindness to yourself and your options, and it is the quintessential form of I want to say disempowerment. It really is disempowerment central. So learn to meditate. I have some recorded guidance audios on my YouTube channel that are free. You can just jump on and use that. And if you want to go a little bit deeper with your sacred feminine wisdom and get in contact with your intuitive self, then hit me up. I'd love to show you. I'd love to show you a lot more about what it is that this world has for all of us, because it's a beautiful world, but if only you had the eyes to see it. All right, I'll leave it there. So have a great month, and peace be with you. Be well. Kisses from Spirit and me. Much love. Take care. See you.